Hello guys, my name is Osmond, and here today we have a Photoshop tutorial. Last week I did a Premiere Pro tutorial. You can watch it on the channel, but let's get right into it. So when you open it, this home screen is very similar to Premiere's. Here are your recents. Don't worry about them. Here on the left, you press Create New. You can choose the dimensions of your clipboard. So do standard printer paper size. And usually your resolution would be 72, but I upped it to 300 so I can see more. You can also make it portrait or landscape. And then you press create. Alright, so when you're in, on the right here you can see there's a background layer. It's usually locked so that you can't make any edits on it. And then what you would want to do first is add layers. So on the bottom right here, there's rectangle, press plus, it'll add a layer. You can also press the trash can to remove it. If you have multiple layers, you can select them. You can shift click them, and then you press this folder. It groups them together. Basically how layers work, it's the same as with Premiere. So if I have let's say black scribble here, and then I have over here a red scribble, you can see that the red is on top. But if I move this layer down, you can hold it by dragging it under. You can see this blue bar to show where it will end up. The black is only on top. And yeah. Next, for images, you can basically just drag them in, and then you'll be able to edit it. So if you hold on to the corner, you can make it bigger or smaller. Same with the sides, and you notice that it'll keep its proportions. What you do if you don't want to do that is hold on to Shift, and then it'll lose its proportion. Or on the top here, this kind of lock or chain, turn it off. I would probably keep it on because I don't think there's a time when you want like squished people on your screen. You can also rotate it, so if you're a bit off of the corner, you can rotate it, right? You'll see this by the two arrows here. You can hold on to shift while rotating it, and then it'll do it at 15 degree intervals, which is really useful if you want to do 180s or 90 degrees. When you're done, press enter, and then yeah, your image will be there. If you look on the right here, there's a little symbol showing that this image is a smart object. This won't happen for all. This won't happen for all images, only some. But anyways, when you try to edit, it'll ask you to rasterize it. You press OK, and then you're able to edit on it. You could also right-click on the layer right here and press rasterize layer. Yeah. On the right here, you can add effects to your entire canvas. So every image below it. Say if I have Control J to duplicate, okay? Let's say I have multiple of these images. Okay, post editing, I realized I didn't teach you guys how I edited the image like that. I made it smaller. Basically, you press Control T, and then it'll be like earlier when you first drag in the image. You can apply the transformations such as rotations. Yeah. On the bottom right here, this circle half filled in. You press it, and then maybe I want to make it black and white, so I press that. And every image below this will be black and white, but if I put on top of it with the layers, again, drag it above, then this layer mask right here will not apply to it. You can also turn on the visibility. So if you press the I, it'll turn it off. You can see layers are disappearing. You can also change the opacity over here. Change it. Okay, next you can add layer styles to your layers. So if you double click off of the name, here it will bring up a new window. You can add it like a stroke here, so press stroke, you can see it. You can add a lot of things such as color overlay, and then you can change the opacity maybe. You can add an inner glow. You can add a shadow. There are many things you can do. If you want to add text to your project, it's pretty easy. On the left here, press T, or you can press T on your keyboard, and then just type. So, I love school. You notice that it'll also create a new layer on the right, so you won't have to worry about layers, colliding. Make sure you select your entire text. I do Control A, and then I'll make it black. I spelled I love school wrong here. Okay. When I press I want to press back V, which is your move tool, so you can drag it around. Otherwise, if you have a text tool, it will just create new layers, or it'll just select your text. Now, make sure I'm on the text layer. I can Control T, make it bigger. you could also change the style here. Up top, it's Cybertron right now. I can make it Cambria. I could also change the layers, the text style. So it's bold. I can make it italicized. Next, let's say you want to draw on your canvas. I press B. You could also press the brush tool right here. And then you notice on the left here, there are two colors. Usually black and white. The one on top is the color that you're going to be drawing with. You could press these two arrows here to switch to your secondary color, or you press X on your keyboard. But if you want, let's say you want to choose like this color here, right here, this window color, you can press on your red color. Post editing, I forgot to mention something again. So if you just want to change the color to like maybe like blue, you can see with this window popped up, you can actually change the colors, so you don't have to actually choose a color that's already on your canvas. You can just choose a new one, and yeah, your case will either be black or white. And then there's an eyedropper tool. You choose it, and then it'll automatically select that color for you. Similarly, you can press I, and then it'll also choose a color for you. Hold on to it, and then it'll hover over. And then as you hover over these colors, it'll select it for you. Your bottom color is your current color, and then the top one is the one that you'll switch to after you let go. Let's say you want to select something. You press L, or you can press this lasso tool. You can kind of draw around him. And then if you control J, which I will, it'll cut him out. But it's pretty sloppy, so when you press L here, you can left click, hover over it, polygonal, it'll draw straight lines for you instead. You could also hover over it and press magnetic, and then it'll do its best to kind of like trace around where you want it to be. Again, this takes a lot of time to kind of get perfectly. What I'd recommend is after you do that, Control J, I would go around to zoom in. You hold on Alt, scroll in, and then you just start deleting stuff with your eraser tool, which you press E for, or this eraser here. So, you could also do Magic Wand or your Quick Select tool. So it'll basically select like one color. So over here, let's say I don't want this guy. Let's say this image, I want to take this green. Press W or just press Magic Wand. If it's Quick Select, then you hold on to it, select Magic Wand, and it will select pixels that are of the similar color. And then if you're saying like, if you wanted to select like colors that seem a bit more different, you can change the tolerance, make it higher, and you can see it selects more. You can use Quick Select to do the same thing, except it'll select things a lot more freely and generously. So the way I have it, Quick Select, after you select something and you let go, on your cursor here, you see a little minus sign. So it'll start deselecting things that you go over. If you want to select stuff, you hold on to Shift, you see it turns into a plus sign, start selecting more. You could also change this on the top here. Plus sign will add more, minus sign will take away, deselect. And if you just choose the normal one, every time you hover over it, it'll select a new item. You press M, this is your marquee tool. There are different shapes, but roughly you just select this shape here. Hold on to Shift if you want to keep the proportion, so it would make a square. And then it'll select this area for you. If you make a circle, hold on to Shift, it'll make a perfect circle for you. And then you can Control C, Control V, which copies and pastes the layer, your selection. You can also Control X, which cuts it out, and then you can paste it. Okay, so if you guys want to like paint bucket an area, maybe like this laptop here, press G, or you can press the paint bucket tool, and then you left click on it, and then it will roughly select all the pixels that are around the same color, and then fill it in with whatever you have on your top color here. Okay, so on the left here, with your tools, you can see on the bottom right, some of them have triangles. If you hold on to them, there are different tools for you to select. So here, rectangular marquee, elliptical. Here, there's a Quick Select, Magic Wand, object selection. There are a lot of tools you can use. For example, there's this blur tool here. So let me make this bigger. It'll blur everything if my strength is higher. You'll probably notice it more. See, his glasses got a lot blurrier. And then you can also sharpen it. But it does not do like a really good job because it just makes your pixels more defined. So obviously I would just Control Z. There's also this dodge tool which makes things lighter. So if you want to zoom in, you do Alt scroll in. But then if you want to make your cursor bigger, you do Alt and then right click, hold on to it. If you drag right, it increases the size. If you drag left, it decreases the size. So you can see it gets a lot lighter. You can do a burn tool, which makes it darker. And yeah. To undo your actions, you press Control Z. To redo them, you press Control Shift Z. And then to kind of like clip back and forth between your last action, you just do Control Alt Z. So if I just press Control Alt Z, it'll keep going back and forth. When you've selected something, let's say here I will select his hair, but instead you actually want to select, you want to keep this, so you could either Command J or you could do Command Shift I, which will inverse your selection, and basically everything except his head is selected, so you can see by the edges they have the box around it. Delete, only his head is left. Alright, let's say you want to save. On the top left, File, Save As, and then you can choose your location. You can choose what type of file it is. So usually I'd go for JPEG or PNG, just because that is a lot more universal. You can also save it as a PSD if you want to keep editing it. So I would recommend you save it as a PSD, and then also save it as a JPEG or PNG on the side. So if you ever notice any errors, you can just open this PSD file, this Photoshop file, and then just edit it. Okay, this is a pretty quick tutorial. I'm a lot more comfortable with Photoshop than Premiere because I've been using Photoshop for maybe like 3-4 years, and Premiere I've only started using it last year. But anyways, if you have any questions, hit me up at chungh5@bxscience.edu. Otherwise, bye.